I want to ask you a question. Who knows where the cold wind blows? I asked my friends, and nobody knows. Who am I to believe in love? Oh, whoa. Love ain't no stranger. If you didn't grow up in the 80s, 90s, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Let me tell you. Whitesnake was a fantastic band. Today, it would it would probably be categorized as far right because the name includes the word white. And I didn't mean to make it rhyme, it just happened. How come it's Whitesnake and not black snake? I'm sorry, African American snake. How come it's a white snake? It's not inclusive. You're not including all the other colors of the rainbow, right? Oh my God. When I was in high school, in the small town I used to live in, and there was like a regional high school of the surrounding smaller, villages. And many of the people who were into, let's say, rock and classic rock music, which was kind of like a large group, they were mostly into Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and I don't know, I would say those were the main acts those people liked. And even though it was during the early 90s, those people still, like, it was across the board. Like, everybody was into Jimi Hendrix, everybody was into Led Zeppelin, everybody was into Pink Floyd, right? Of course, they liked other bands as well, but I mean, the majority, like, if you would play in a party or whatever, those three people, all right, yeah, they liked Metallica as well. You know, some people were into heavier rock as well, but talking about majority, yeah, this is our music. Now, I am not saying Jimi Hendrix was not like a good guitar player. I'm not saying Led Zeppelin was not an okay band, and I'm not saying Pink Floyd were not like making good music in the 70s and possibly in the 80s. I'm just saying I don't think they were like the best. I used to listen to Deep Purple from early to late, Black Sabbath, Whitesnake, and that kind of stuff. And they used to tell me that I listened to like pretty much shitty music because I didn't like the Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix sound. You know, I believe that was a Gibson guitar full of distortion, and it all sounded like really compressed and dirty and very noisy. But a lot of time noise, and really I don't have any disrespect. I'm just saying it's a matter of taste. Like, those productions were like really, they were dirty. You didn't have any, like, yeah, they had those ballads and quieter songs, but even those quieter songs, I feel like, what's his name, the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, he was like screaming in this kind of like a screamy way. Plus, Led Zeppelin basically stole a lot of their music from black African American artists in the US, like blues artists, and some song they just took copy paste without giving much credit I believe. And I'm not even sure if they credited on the album. And a lot of their shticks and a lot of their style, music style, especially guitar playing, was copy paste from, some would say influenced, but some would say copy pasted from Black American, African American, whatever you want to call it, blues artists. I'm not going to go into that discussion, but I know any rock and roll band was influenced by those artists, but I feel like with Led Zeppelin it was more profound. I know Whitesnake had those kind of influences as well, but anyway, I'm just saying I feel like those acts like Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and Jimi Hendrix were given way too much credit, while there were many undervalued or non-credited artists that made great music. And anyway, and in my neck of the woods they were not appreciated. But I am happy that I used to listen to some other bands, and not only those three, because I was exposed to great music, and I try to always keep my mind open and not put myself in one style of music, and keep on expanding my horizons and keep my mind open. So that was about that, and Love Ain't No Stranger is a great song by Whitesnake, from somewhere in the 80s, from the album Slide It In. And if I can say something about most of those bands and many of those songs, including Love Ain't No Stranger, is that many of them were love songs, or they spoke about love. Many of them also spoke about, kind of like a fantasy thing. But I feel like especially Whitesnake and maybe Led Zeppelin as well, they were like speaking about a lot of love stuff happening. And even Ozzy Osbourne, that, people accused him of being working the devil. That was kind of bullshit. It was just like a gimmick. But anyway, even him, in his albums, in his first solo album, Crazy Train, he has a sentence where he's saying, he did not write it, but he sang it and he stood behind it. Spiritual, like learn how to love and forget how to hate. So what I'm trying to say is, many of those acts that grew in the 70s and the 80s and even 90s, early 90s, they came from the wave of the 60s, which was people were protesting against war, but they were not protesting in a hateful way, meaning, yes, there was violence and there were clashes, but they were kind of like the love and peace generation. And they didn't say, yeah, we want to protect these kind of people and be against those. No, they said love and peace for everybody. And let's stop the wars. And I stand behind that. However, what I'm seeing, if I assume that what I see on the internet is real and correct, and you never know these days, but I would assume that major news outlets will verify what they're reporting, even though any news outlet today is not really reporting news, because when you report news, you basically, in my opinion, you need to report facts, and that's it, and you provide the facts, and you let the person who reads the facts make an educated decision based on the facts. I would say this is probably the like this should be the way that the person who's consuming the news is basically needs to consume data and not consume an opinion like a processed data that tells you how to think. And many people are not even able to distinguish between those two, and they take whatever they read as whatever happened. But that's not always the case. It's like historians, different historians report different things about the same scenario because they had an opinion, they had an agenda. I don't know, one historian worked for this queen and one historian worked for that king and one historian was independent and he or she reported whatever they want to report. So the way I see it, it should be more of a document like, hey, here it is. This is the reality and you make up your mind. Like, you make a decision. I'm just reporting what happened. And it's like you are watching whatever, you're watching the stock market or you're analyzing data from the from the financial markets or you're trying. I know those people who do that. I don't know them, but by my understanding, the people who are doing that or the computers who are doing that, they are instructed not to have a personal agenda, but just to look at the facts, form an opinion, try to think what's the possible future scenarios will be. And because your goal is to analyze facts and try to predict kind of like in a crystal ball in a precise way. And I sense that when you read the news today or you watch certain channels from the right, from the left, from the center, you do not watch facts. You watch like a football fan reporting on the team that they like. I might be wrong, but that's just my observation. Anyway, speaking about where I was starting with this, with the love and peace generation, I stumbled upon an article by CBC.ca, which I believe is a Canadian broadcast, whatever the acronym is. So I believe CBC.ca is a government owned. I might be wrong. And it's news from Ottawa, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, in Canada. And the headline is, Pride Parade cancelled after being halted by pro-Palestinian protester. Pride is not for sale, says Queer for Palestine in statement. I was very, very confused because, why would Queers for Palestine, which are part of the gay community, and I'm not sure if I should part of that flag community, will be against a pride parade, and the pride ended up being cancelled. I'm so freaking confused by what's happening. So I started reading, and it's saying the Ottawa's annual Pride Parade was cancelled after it was halted by a local pro-Palestinian advocacy group that blocked the road and demanded to negotiate with organizers. All right. So I am just not sure what the hell is going on here and why. And then you see a photo of a lady. I'm not sure if this is a lady or a man who looks like a lady, but it surely has like manly hands, and it has look how they confuse the shit out of me, because I'm from the 80s and the 90s, and I'm like, I'm from the liberals who, like, liberal, I would say I'm a liberal, so I am pro people doing what the hell they want. And if that they want to be queer and they want to be, so I would say do it. Just as long as you don't do whatever the hell you want. Just leave me alone. Just let me go ahead and make money, and just don't stand in my way. And those people who are the pride people, who are like for freedom and do what supposedly they teamed up with Palestine, which is like really against gay people, which is the first thing that confused me, because I'm familiar with the Palestinian Muslim agenda of Hamas and just the average Palestinian. I'm familiar with it because I'm from that hood, and I know what they do. Like, if you are gay in those places, you will be possibly most likely killed. It's just how this society is. It's not like you can say whatever you want. I'm not inventing anything. It's well known that if you're in a Palestinian village and you are gay, and people know you're gay, you bring shame on your family, and whatever type of gay you are going to be executed. You're going to be killed. And if you are a woman who is bringing shame on the family by going, you are not married and you're going with a guy, you also might most likely be killed. But this is a different discussion. But I can tell you pretty much for sure the reason why there are no openly gay communities in any Muslim country is because it is verboten. 999. Nichts. Kein gays for Palestine. There is no queers in any of those countries. So why are you, who is the pride, you are a transgender and you have a pride shirt, like pride is a protest, I don't know, whatever it's on her, and she eat plus whatever, 2 souls, I don't even know what it is, honestly, I'm sorry, I'm just not familiar. It has a megaphone, looks like a lady, hands like a man, the hands, the arms, and then has a kafia, which is a symbol, whatever, of a Muslim. How is that even possible? You're not making sense. It's like me, who is, I would say, born to Jewish parents, I'm going to put in a Nazi flag on me. So basically, it's the same, because Nazis want to kill Jews, and I'm sorry to say that Muslim ruling countries are, like, based on Islam, you should be killed if you're gay, if you're queer, if you're 2 souls, if you're LGBTQI, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever it is, they want to kill you. So how are you putting this flag on? I don't understand it. Like, I understand you don't, I assume you don't like Israel and you don't like Jews. I get it. I get it. I also don't like some people. I don't want to kill anybody like you do. I don't get violent about it. But there are some people. I long ago came to a conclusion and understanding that some people are going to like me and some people are not going to like me and some people are going to hate me. And that's everywhere you go, and it goes both ways. Like you go both ways, right? So, but I don't understand, how can you be so clueless that you don't even understand that if you are a queer and you go with all those flags and the way you look, a guy who looks, I'm sorry to say, like, I'm not here to disrespect you, I'm just looking at the photo on this website, and it's a very masculine woman, all right? And the way you look with that flag, You go to any Muslim country, if you're not going to be arrested by the authorities, someone is going to kill you. Most likely. You're not going to be treated with any kind of respect for your life. So I don't understand how you can put in that, how can you fight for something that is not, I don't get it. Like, that's up to you. I personally don't get it. So they started fighting between them. There is this dude, this lady who looks like a dude, like a lady, and then with a megaphone, and then arguing with I would say, a middle-aged, white-haired, overweight. I'm sorry to say that, but she's kind of fat. I know I should not say fat, but I don't know how to describe it. She can lose a few pounds, all right? I can't say anything these days, but she looks fat. I'm sorry. She looks fat. She has those, and she has a black t-shirt. I mean, why would you wear a black t-shirt in the summer? I don't know. It's very sunny and hot. She has a black t-shirt, and it has a circle, a print of the flag pride and a black cat, so I assume it's a pussy. I'm not sure. But that's, and they're arguing, one is from the Pride parade and one is from the Queers, and they're fighting between them. So that, for me, not only confusing, but it's also hilarious that they're fighting between them now, who is like, stand with us and all oppressed people, including Palestinians. I'm not sure Palestinians are oppressed people. Maybe you did not realize that they have chosen Hamas as their government once they were given the Gaza Strip, and that's it. Like, Israel gave them the Gaza Strip, and Israel did not oppress them anymore, as you claim. They were not oppressed. They had their own. Okay, it's not what they wanted, but they had freedom to choose whomever they want as the government, and they were not physically oppressed by Israel or mentally oppressed by Israel. This is bullshit. And I'm not pro-Israel because I left Israel for a reason, many reasons, which I'll discuss later. I'm just telling you the facts as is. It's bullshit what you're saying. They're not oppressed. And they were not oppressed until they started doing all this nonsense. And so that's, for me, is hilarious. So this is what they're saying. We're in the parade today to affirm very clearly that our pride is not for sale, and that 2SLGBTQIA plus communities sorry, I just want to say it again. And that 2SLGBTQIA plus communities will not accept sponsors and elected officials dictating what we stand for, how we celebrate ourselves, and how we claim our space, the press release said. Capital Pride announced the parade had been cancelled just before 3 a.m. on Instagram. Okay. So the way I see it, this is what happened. And mind you, there were about 7,000 people from more than 175 groups who showed up for the parade, for the Capitol Pride parade that was canceled. I don't understand. This is, for me, hilarious and confusing. And basically 7,000 people thought that it's okay to show up for a pride parade, but then a group from that large community of 7,000, there was another group who was Queer for Palestine, and they stopped the parade. So basically, if you do not agree with me, I am going to block you. Why? They have the right to go on a pride parade. Why do you need to be a parade blocker and a party pooper? You cannot participate in the parade. You can stand on the sidelines and protest. Why do you need to cancel the parade? If that's what 7,000 people who showed up from different parts of the country want it. Why do you have to always be so dramatic with your actions and cancel and fight? And I'm just going to wrap it up and say this is hilarious to me that the Muslim and I don't even remember what it was. What is like 2SLGBTQIA plus people are coming together and then they're starting to fight within themselves. This is for me hilarious. It's basically a dragon that's going to is eating its own tail, and this is such a nonsense. It's nonsense. It's really nonsensical. It's really what are you doing? What are you doing? Like seriously, why? Like you want to put your money where your mouth is. Go and do whatever you do. Go to Saudi Arabia now. Buy plane ticket to any Muslim country that will allow you to buy a ticket to. And I want you to stand with those flags over there. If you are so inclined to fight against oppression, why won't you do that? People of your own community are being oppressed in many Muslim countries. Why don't you go there and arrange a boat flotilla? I don't know how you say it. Tortilla. I don't know how you say it. Arrange a boat and call your buddy Greta, whatever, the great minds of your generations, and all those actors from whatever TV show, and go together to Egypt, where young girls are being mutilated at the age of 8, and their clitoris is being chopped off for religious reasons because they don't want the woman to feel any pleasure, and they have like a gay police over there checking men's assholes who are being suspected as gays. Why don't you go there and protest, please? I dare you to do that. If you are so inclined, and if you are such a freedom fighter, and you go and you show all those photos on your Instagram and look at me and you live stream and you do all that bullshit that your generation is doing, why don't you go to Egypt? Why don't you go to Saudi Arabia? Why don't you go to Tunisia? Why don't you go to Indonesia? Why don't you go to Qatar? Why don't you go to Iran? Why don't you go to any of those countries? Why don't you go to Jordan? Why don't you go to Syria and Lebanon? Go! Please go with those pride flags and all the way you look and the blue hair and the white hair and all the kafiyas and everything, and go there with the Palestinian flag and the pride flag, and please stand in city center and fight for the real oppressed people in those countries. And please, I would love to see that, and I would love you to report back on Instagram, and if you even gonna have your cell phone with you after 5 minutes, and please send us postcards from jail or from your deathbed, because that's where you're gonna end up. So please, you are just a bunch of crybabies who have nothing better to do than propagate hate. You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't know. You really don't know where you're getting yourself into. I mean, please, by all means, do that. Go become friends with those groups and knock yourself out. But I'm just saying, this is for me, who grew up in the Middle East. This is for me, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm sorry, I already know how this is going to end for you. So please, knock yourself out.